I do not know why I am offline. Offline. Why am I offline? Oh, great. I do not know why I am offline. Offline. Okay, hi guys. My name is Zilia, and you are joining me from Lagos. I am currently in Lagos. This is where I'm filming from. I'm currently in Lagos, and I am kickstarting my streaming session. This is basically what it's going to look like on and I'll probably spend maybe 2-3 hours with you guys and then move on with my day. So like I said, my name is Zilia, and I live in Lagos. I just want to create a channel where I just come and we chat and we just hang out for a while and just talk about stuff and life and struggles of adulthood, have fun, talk about gists that are happening and just chill basically. So today is Sunday. Did you go to church today? If you went to church, I don't know if there's anyone online. I think I can see one person, Justice. Thank you, Justice, for joining. Leave a comment. Let me know you can see me and say hi. And also tell me how, if you went to church, one, did you go to church? One, if you did, what church do you attend and where are you viewing from? I'd like to know. Just drop a comment. Drop a comment, drop a comment, drop a comment. So I am reading this book, and it is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I have been packing nuggets from this book that I think that any young adult, I don't know if I still qualify as a young adult, but whatever, any young adult will find useful for themselves, and they'll find interesting, because I find them very interesting. And it is basically about building little habits that would in turn help you on, the long run. And personally, there are certain things that I thought I knew. I thought I knew. There are certain things I thought that, because I pretty much thought, oh my God, my life is set. I am great. I am the best thing since sliced bread. Until I started encountering certain people and I started figuring out that, there are areas where you need to learn and you need work. My man just gonna... Hi. Thank you guys for saying hello. I really appreciate. There's my man. There is Holly Dawn. Hi, Holly. Hi, Holy Dawn. Hi, my man. Hi, Mama T. Thank you guys for joining. So I was talking about lessons I learned from this book. It is Atomic Habits by James Clear. So it basically speaks to you building little habits that in turn help your whole future, right? And I am currently trying to change my life, because I thought that my life was like pretty much, set, beautiful, everything. I'm the best thing since sliced bread, until I started meeting new people. And I started seeing that there were some traumas I need to heal from. There are some mindsets that I have built that I need to stop. I need to kill off my life so I can have like a rich life. So basically, I will share a couple of them with you before we go into the main gist for today. So like I said earlier, would I call it a channel? My TikTok page is basically going to be about us just chatting, chilling, and, just talking about life, struggles of adulthood. And I'd like to drop one question before I proceed to talk about what I want to talk about now. What is that one thing that you thought you had figured out as an adult that, life just taught you that, guy, get drop it in the comments, let me know, and so that I can read them out for others to see and we can talk about them as well. For me, I would say that in relationship, I used to think that I was flawless, one. I used to think, so I always used to choose people that is either I am trying to fix them, so I would intentionally or rather unconsciously pick people who I sense they have issues, and I'll try to fix them. So now, when I then now meet people who are not, who do not have like crazy traumas, right, that I need to fix, I then start self sabotaging, and I'm like, I don't know how to handle it. I don't know how to handle people who are emotionally, um, what's the word, stable, who are self conscious, who understands themselves, and things like that. So, Holly Dawn, you're asking what the title is again. So, for now, so we're going to touch on different titles. The first one, this one we're tackling now, is what is that one thing that you thought as an adult you had figured out that life taught you that you don't got shit? So you can drop it in the comments, and let's talk about it as well and just chat. And then from there we'll go into talking about struggles that we have as adults. I am 36. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how old you are, and I am. I think I'll just drop the title on the chats. The title is, no, the question rather. The first question is, what is that one thing you thought you had figured out as an adult? Figured out as an adult and life taught you otherwise. And life taught, oh shoot, I can't, as an adult and life taught you otherwise. So what is that one thing that you thought you had figured out and life taught you otherwise? That is basically the first question. So drop it in the comment section and let us talk about it. So for me, like I was saying, the book is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Atomic Habits by James Clear. So it is basically teaching you how to do tiny changes to get remarkable results. So as I was saying, so when I meet new people when I meet guys who are self-sufficient, who do not have anything that they need to fix, that I need to fix, I then start self-sabotaging, and because I don't know how to handle them or what to even do with them. So that is something that I have now, started consciously paying attention to. And I'm also trying to read this book to see how this book can help me and help me to see things that I can change about myself, and also agree and know to myself that, Zelia, you're not the best thing since sliced bread. Every day, that we go through life, we're learning new things as adults. As an adult, biology, or rather science, tells us that we become mature at age 25. So now if I take out 25 years from the 36 years that I've been alive, that is basically 36, sorry, I'm bad at math. Okay, I'm not bad at maths. I just do not have the brain to calculate it now, except I do like proper calculation. That's just something I learned from the book. So 36 minus 25, that is 1. I am basically a complete adult that is an 11-year-old. So I'm just 11-year-old into adulthood. So look at yourself. If you're above age 25, you're just basically maybe 1 or 2 years, or 2 years a complete adult. If you're as old as me, do your calculation. So that would even help us give ourselves a break to know that we are just now realizing certain things that we didn't know, certain habits that we have built over time that we need to change as young adults. Make sense? Okay, so the first thing that I picked from this book is if a change is meaningful, it is actually big. If a change is meaningful, it is actually big. So basically what this kind of says is little changes, you when you look at little changes, you don't think that they have real impact, right? But if a change is If a change is meaningful, it means that in your future, in the maybe next couple of years, or even the next time you would have an experience that you would need this, need to apply this change, it means that it was helpful at the end of the day. So meaning, if a change is meaningful, if you consider a change, something that you've changed about yourself, if you consider it meaningful, it means it is a big change, and basically it is basically about making small improvements to that change to better your life. So the second thing that I learned in this book, sorry, I'm trying to flip through the pages. Yes, true. This one really hits me because, you know, there are certain things that you would think you know, right? Until someone else says them, you would not know that, oh, okay, this is actually a thing. And that was what this phrase actually taught me. It says, true behavior change is identity change. If you listened earlier when I said that I am bad at maths, there are certain things that we tell ourselves that we then now carve our identity around. For example, someone like me, I always say to myself that, I don't like sciences. I'm terrible at sciences. I'm terrible at maths. Basically, the moment I start saying that to myself, I start acting it. I start living it. Does that make sense? Anything you tell yourself is what you become. Anything, any behavior you do, you keep up with, that behavior becomes your identity. So now, let's say someone is an addict. What makes someone an addict? It is because you keep going back to that thing that you're addicted to, correct? Now, if you tell yourself that I am not an addict, I'm not, for example, let's say you're an alcoholic addict. I'm not an alcoholic addict. What that means is next time when someone offers you a drink, you will not tell the person, oh, I'm not drinking for now, or oh, I'm not drinking today. You just say, I don't drink. And then the more you keep telling yourself, I don't drink, the more you keep acting it. And when you act the opposite, you are no longer an addict. But if you tell yourself, I am a recovering addict, what you then now do is, you've still giving yourself leeway to once in a while dabble into that thing that you're addicted to a bit. And then, once in a while go back from it. Once in a while do it again. Another time go back to it. But if you say, I am not an addict, you start acting like you're not an addict. Now, let me take you to diet, for example, which is something that I do a lot. And for my diet, I always tell myself that weight loss is very difficult. Weight loss is stressful. Weight loss is that. Or when I say to myself, I am on a diet. Now, I am currently on a it's really a struggle finding replacement for some of these words. I'm currently doing 75 hard challenge. What that means is you stick to a diet, you read 10 pages of a non-fiction book, you drink 3.8 liters of water per day, you do one outdoor exercise, you do one indoor exercise. Now, all of these things that I just listed to you, these are my normal lifestyle. But because I told myself, I saw in a challenge that you have to stick to them, I told myself I am on a diet. So what that does to me is it makes me stick to these things judiciously for 75 days. After 75 days, the likelihood of me going back is very high. Now, if, like I said before, this is something I do on a norm, right? It is my lifestyle. So now, if I just said, oh, I eat clean, it means even though I'm doing the serious one for 75 days, even after 75 days, I would not still be stuck there trying to keep myself, telling myself I'm on 75 hard challenge, and after the 75 days, I walk back. So basically, what you act, whatever behavior you show is what your identity is wrapped around. So if you want to change anything about yourself, you have to kickstart it by changing your behavior to be able to build an identity around the new behavior that you have. So that is another thing that struck me on this book. And then the next thing is, Now, this one struck me again. It says, the English is big, so I might just try to explain it, but I will read it. It says, behavior that is incongruent with self would not last. I had to go check the word incongruent. It means something that is not in alignment. Any behavior that is not in alignment with you, it will not last. So, for someone like me, I'm a creative. I like to, anything creativity is where I, thrive in, is where I dabble in. You will see me there 24/7. I pick up a camera and I'm shooting. I'm so excited. It gives me so much joy. Don't even pay me. I will do it for free. Now, someone like me, if I now go into medicine, because there is medicine pays and there is money in medicine, I will struggle. I may be able to do it too, because someone like the kind of person that I am is whatever I put my mind to, I will do it. But would I necessarily enjoy it? Would I stick to it? I don't think I would. So it would be very, for me to move away from my current field, which is the creative space, to medicine, I will struggle as a medical person or as someone in the sciences. So anything that is not in alignment with you, with your nature, it would not last. That is basically what this means. So we have to be able to identify the things that resonates with us. What are those things that you enjoy? What are those things that are natural to you? Then I'll build your build habits around them. Take out the positives though. Build habits around them and stick to them. So that is another thing I got from this book. So if you are just joining us, we're analyzing. I'm reading out points that appealed to me from Atomic Habits by James Clear. So that is, I've touched on 3. Let me just pick 2 before we move on to the next thing that we're talking about on the live session. So now, okay. Okay, I'll just read this paragraph, right? It says, it is, so now the title of this particular paragraph I want to read is Why Small Habits Make a Big Difference. It is so easy to overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. Too often, we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action. Now, I'll pause here first. If you want to build a house, you start by digging the foundation. And how do you, now let's even analyze just the foundation stage. When you are digging the foundation, it takes one shovel dig or one crane dig at a time, correct? Now, if you want to look at the goal is to build a foundation. But the process to get there takes little steps. So now take it back to your life. Whatever goal you want to achieve, it is easier to look at the tiny steps than focus on the big dream. That is basically what that just said. And he said, whether it is losing weight, building a business, writing a book, winning championships, or achieving any other goal, we put pressure on ourselves to make some earth-scattering improvement that everyone will talk about. Meanwhile, improving by 1% isn't particularly notable. Sometimes it isn't even noticeable. But it can be far more meaningful, especially on the long run. Now, let's take it back to the, let's take it back to the digging your foundation conversation. One shovel dig at a time would not make sense at the beginning, but give it maybe 1 month, 2 months, you would see that you've dug your foundation and you've laid the brick. The goal has been met, but it took little steps to get there. So basically, if you want to change, if you want real impact in your life, let's say you want to tell yourself, let's say you've told yourself, I want to lose weight. It starts with the first meal you take after saying that statement, the first spoon of whatever you're taking after saying that statement. What is are you going to take a burger and you're trying to lose weight, or are you going to eat something that is healthy? Maybe it's a home-cooked spoon of rice and with your plate packed with vegetables. It starts with little strides like that. It starts with you taking that 1 glass of water that would eventually become 4 during the day. It starts with you, taking that step, or even even if, let's say you can't do 1 hour of exercise, you do 30 seconds or 30 minutes. It starts with the first step. So basically, you want to change your life, starts with changing little habits. And now the fourth thing that struck me in this book is, sorry, let me go to it. Yes. Mastery requires patience. Nobody is, I mean, the meaning of this is very clear. Anything you want to master, you have to be patient to master it. So basically, mastery requires patience. You want anything, you want to get good at anything, you want to get good at, for example, making hair, you have to be patient to do the daily stress or daily trials of that thing that you're trying to build. Now, let's take the last one because I'm just on page 40. So I really don't have so much to say on this yet, but these are just few things that stuck to me. This one too is also about identity. Okay, no, let me talk about the 3 levels of change. I'll just list them and we'll stop there today. Maybe tomorrow I'll continue from there. So it says that there are 3 levels to change: outcome change, process change, and identity change. I think I'll stop it here because that is the part where I am about to read. I'll read that today because I'm supposed to read 10 pages of this book every day. So basically, there are 3 levels to change. There is outcome change, there is process change, and then there is identity change. So the next bit of this book is going to, where I'm going to read, is going to analyze what these 3 change processes are. Anyways, that is all I have read and I got from this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. You should get a copy for yourself. It is very good. If you want to change any habit, change it. Read this book and it will help you in life. Now, let's go back to the question I asked. What is that one thing that you thought you had figured out as an adult that life taught you otherwise? Meaning, there is something that you thought, oh, I got it all covered, and life taught you you are playing. For me, I used to think that I was the best thing since sliced bread when it comes to relationship. I'm the fixer, the people fixer, the men fixer. Until I started meeting men who didn't need me to fix them, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So now that made me to reevaluate myself and reprocess stuff, and I am now trying to build myself and, I'm now trying to build myself and get to understand life from a different perspective. So, I would like to know where you guys are joining me from. If wherever you're joining me from, just say hi on the comments. Tap the like button. Let me know. And I also want to know where you're joining me from. I'm joining you from Lagos. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. And basically, my page, this is actually a test. It's like my second test, my second live test, if that makes any sense. I'm currently streaming on TikTok and YouTube. I don't know if the YouTube one is working yet. So please pardon me if you're dropping comments on YouTube and I'm not saying anything, because there's no way for me to get feedback to even see what I am doing. So, which is why I'm basically, the only part that I can check is TikTok, because I can clearly see TikTok's comments. So now, what is the one thing that you thought you had figured out that life taught you otherwise? So while we'll talk about that, I want to talk about failure. Failure as an adult. I know that topics like this can be very boring. People like gist and people like, controversial stories. This is not the place where you will get controversial stories. Yes, there are going to be times where I would read random stories that we saw online and we just, talk about it. By the time I'm able to invite other people to join me, then that would be happening. But for now, for this next 7 days, it has to be just me because I'm not eligible yet. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Let's talk about failure. So I'll use myself as an example. Like I said earlier, I'm 36 and I'm an entrepreneur by nature. That does not mean that I have not done 9 to 5 before. I actually just quit 9 to 5 this year, to be honest. But on the side, I've been doing my business or doing several businesses. And I have failed so many times than I can count. I failed as when I started my career, I was a copywriter. And I think I failed in that field for like some 7 years before I went back into it. And the reason why I failed then, I actually remember it was because of the kind of boss I had. When I was doing copywriting, I was not encouraged at all, and I got discouraged and I stopped it. And then I moved into production. In production, I would say work-wise, I was successful, but money-wise, I don't think I was, because I was doing so much. I was working long hours, not making anything at all. Like, I would literally, the company I was working for was not paying me enough. I would literally, what's the word? I would literally pay people what they were paying me in a month. Then I was earning 50K salary. This is after I had a master's degree in the United Kingdom, right? I had a UK master's with almost distinction, with a merit. My first degree, I had a 2-1, but the second job I got, I was being paid 50,000 naira. It didn't matter to me at that time. All I just wanted to do was work. In terms of the work, I shot commercials for big brands, First Bank, Pepsi. If I drop some of these videos, I'm sure you people will know them. Indomie, big brands for so many agencies. But at the end of the day, all I used to take home then was 50K at the end of the month. Eventually, they promoted me and increased the salary to like 85 after I'd worked there for like 7 years, and I was like, okay, this is not the kind of life that I want to live, and I left. And then, so I would say I failed again there, and I got discouraged that what kind of life is this? I'll be seeing my friends are buying cars, my friends who are not even as smart as I was. They were, living life, they were street smart. They were living life, getting everything they wanted. And me, I was just there working and dying, never been able to hang out with my friends or do anything, and just, dying in work. Until one day, I think I've forgotten who I came across, but there was something that sparked the urge in me to, what's the word, skill up, right? And then I paid for a product marketing class. I didn't know anything about marketing, but I knew that I loved marketing. In my company then, when I joined the company, my boss just like took on the role. So it was basically myself and her that were going door to door to market the production house, right? And eventually, we started getting businesses in. So all the marketing materials that we used, the profile, the reel, everything was curated by me. Of course, I had the guidance of my boss, but I was the one that created it. And I saw that I loved it so much. I loved writing. I loved expressing myself. I loved packaging the company. And so that was, I think that was another thing that sparked product marketing in my head. So I first of all did like a lot of free courses online. I checked Coursera, did free courses on Coursera, did free courses on Udemy, and eventually I was like, let me even spend like real money to pay for knowledge. And then I Googled tech schools that do not require coding, and I saw one in Lagos, Hills and Tech. It's basically virtual, and I paid. I think the money I paid then was 300K. Huge money for me that was earning 85,000 naira monthly. But I knew how much I wanted change in my life, that I was like, I don't care what will happen, I would go for this. And I paid for it, and I did the course. And luckily for me, a job opportunity came to the school, and the school recommended me as one of their top participating students, and asked me to apply for the job. And I did apply for the job, and I got the job even before I was done with that course. So that was how I moved into tech, right? And I was doing tech. It was interesting. I knew I could do more, because the company I was working for was a startup. They didn't really have good foundation for me to do anything, but While I was doing that for them, I was also building my own company on the side. And eventually, that was how Supply Media Limited, which is my company now, was born. And I started taking gigs on the side while working for them fully remote. And at the beginning, when I started Sublime Media Limited, I would say that I I don't think I was doing so well. I think I was making profits of like 100K monthly. Once in a while, I would get one job or I'll get one client that was paying me. So I already knew from the start that a retainer system will pay me more than when I'm doing one-off jobs for people. So I started doing retainer systems where I would charge people, employ staff that will work for me and pay them salaries. And at the end of the day, what comes to my own pocket was like 100K. And also I kept on doing it while I was still doing that job. And from there, I think the company kind of like closed down and I moved from there. I was jobless for like, I think 6 months. Within those 6 months again, I paid someone to revamp my CV because I still wanted more. The craze, I knew that was not where I was supposed to be, right? I knew I wanted more, but I just didn't know how to get it. So I was just like really trying different things just to, just to make, find a way out of where I was. And that was how, I paid someone to revamp my CV, revamp my LinkedIn page, and I started getting LinkedIn requests for job opportunities. This was me that I used to have the mindset that there are no jobs in Nigeria. Oh my God, there are no jobs. But the moment I repaid that person to revamp my CV, people's HR started reaching out to me because even me, I didn't even know what I could do until after the guy revamped my CV. What I did was I took what he has done, gave it to ChatGPT, and I told ChatGPT, write a script for me, describe me in your own words. And ChatGPT described me. And that was the blueprint I started using for interviews whenever I went for interviews. So, and eventually I got a job at, I think it was at the Elevation Church as a senior communications manager. This was me that was earning how much? And I tripled my income because before then I'd prepared for interviews and things like that. And my income tripled, overnight. And from there, I became head of communication and marketing for in a law firm, Olaniwa Ajayi, for like, a couple of months. And then I decided, okay, I don't want to do 9 to 5 again. Let me move on now to my own company, which is what I do now. So looking at my journey, there's been a lot of failures, right? Even right now in my company, I'm struggling. I'm not going to lie. It's not rosy all the way, but my attitude towards failure has changed. There was a time where, in between all of this that I just narrated, there was a time where I was jobless. The way I acted then is not the same way I'm acting now that I'm working for myself. Then I had a food business that failed eventually because of my mindset. The weirdest thing was I had money to put into that business, but because I had the mindset of, I cannot buy bikes, I cannot employ people, I cannot do this, I can't do that. At the end of the day, I lost that money to MMM when I could have poured it into my business because I was one of the first people that started food delivery business in Lagos, right? So that was then. But now, the same circumstance where it's me and God that knows how I get money now. There's no allergy that gives me money. There is no, I don't even know where I'm getting the next clients from in the next month. I don't know. I don't know how anything happens. All the clients I have, it was through conversations with people that I got them. Did I know those conversations were going to happen before they happened? I didn't. So same scenario, but different times. So I'm a much more different person. My attitude towards me failing at things had changed. This year, I lost my biggest client. And it would have been easier for me to just like chill, get drowned into myself and be crying and, be lamenting, scatter the team and things like that. But my attitude towards them leaving was quite different. And I was so shocked at how I reacted to it. One, the first thing I did was I just went to God to pray. And I was like, God, you were the one that gave me this client before, and you're the one that will give me a replacement. If you say it's time for me to diversify or change my business direction, who am I to say no? But I would not, I I would not question you. I would not be angry at you like I usually would towards God, like questioning God. Why is this happening to me? Why is that happening to me? And all of those. But my attitude if let's say I sent something to a client and the client does not like it, before the old me would be lamenting, bash the team. Now the way I would craft my questions to the clients is, okay, what are the things that you don't like about this particular video, this particular thing that was done for you? I am now solution oriented. Like, I focus on what's the solution. When my big client left, what was the next thing that came to my mind? Okay, what product can I create that I can sell that would make me not even rely on clients, which is why I'm working on a course right now that I'm going to sell, right? So at the end of the day, you can choose to be dejected when you fail. You can choose to ponder in sadness, and act like a victim, make yourself a victim, cry all day, cry all night. Or you can choose to say, okay, I will have a moving on mindset. This currently is not working. Let me try something else, and you just keep trying and trying and trying. So my mindset towards failure is, something fails, I move on immediately. I don't ponder on that negativity or stay there and start crying. No. Yes, would I feel sad? Of course I'm going to feel sad, right? But my mindset has changed. I will be solution oriented, solution focused. What is the next thing that I need to do? So I would say, I don't know who the reason why I came on live, I don't know if it's for anyone or who this is for. But basically, I would say that life is not a bed of roses. Whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're whatever, and you're religious, you believe in God. One thing that, I'm a Christian, so I can only speak from the Bible POV. One thing I know that the Bible has always told us is, the fact that you're a Christian does not mean that negativity or things will not happen to you. Because what is life without challenges? You will still face challenges, but God will give you peace all through it. That is the difference between us and every other person out there, right? God is going to give you the peace that you need to navigate that process, to navigate that period. I'm in my most difficult, financially difficult business period or entrepreneurship period, right? Right now. But my attitude has changed. I'm a different person. I am not, even though funds are not flowing in, my account is depleting. My attitude is not changing. I am not sad. I'm still looking fly. I'm still, doing all I need to do, going out, speaking to people, telling people about my business, marketing is still, because I know that it just takes God to tell one person that, guy, give this girl a job, and they'll give me a job, and I'm fine. So choose to look at the bright side when you fail. Failure is a normal thing that would happen in life. It's a normal thing that would happen to anyone, but how you handle it is what makes you different from the next person. So anyways, now that is all I'm going to talk about failure, and I would like you guys to drop comments in the comments section. Tell me areas where you failed in the past. Where have you failed before, and how did you handle it? You don't know who that would encourage, or that would motivate and things like that. So you can drop comments like that on the comment section. Now, let's move on to the next session, which is fun and entertainment. So I dug up some stories on on Reddit. And I don't know if you guys have seen this Am I an Asshole story. Sometimes when I'm on Reddit, I just go there to laugh and read the stories, and I'm like, oh my God. So I'll just be reading a couple of them for you, and tell me what you think, if the person is an asshole, if the person is not an asshole, and let's just chat and talk, and we'll move on to the next session. So the first thing is, this one is from I want interesting ones. Okay, am I the asshole for ending my friendship? So I'll just click on it, and okay, so the person is, hello. The person says, hello, I would like to get something off my chest. I've been diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia since very young age, and until later in high school, diagnosed with dyslexia. I've always had a hard time learning. And that always made me feel like I'm dumb. Okay, you're not. I've been in public school for 5 years, then switched to private school. I never really got a lot of friends, and I always had my twin sister Amelia with me, which I am deeply grateful for and her love. But since I switched school, I suddenly had the friends, and I was quite um, likable. But it all came to hell in the last year of grade school. Okay, at 8th year of grad school came a new student. Her name, let's say, was Debbie. We got along and we liked each other. We had the same interests like anime, play games, and I've had another friend named Tia. I love her, and sometimes I think about her if this is actually my fault. Me and Tay and Debbie had a lot in common. In our free time, we went movies and played horror games together during lockdown. One day after class, Debbie was telling me of her diagnosis on her ADHD, and I said I have the same thing. And she said that her mom let her take the test on ADHD, but won't let a psychologist confirm it. Which I said that getting a diagnosis isn't easy, and that I feel for her, and I went through hardships myself. About a week later, I look at her story on Instagram saying, "This is for someone I know. There are people that are going through an actual and certainly fake. It won't do much." Okay, sorry. There are people that are going through an actual ADHD, and certainly faking it wouldn't do much. I was devastated and texted her that, what is this about? She said I'm a faker and that it's all my fault. I felt like crying. I wanted to die on the spot until next day I confronted her that it was unacceptable. How could she even say that about me? She said I am a joke and it's all my fault, that I shouldn't bet my diagnosis on a TikTok about ADHD. And that was the end of the friendship. After that, I've had panic attacks, but I've always been afraid to talk about it. I fell in depression state and didn't want to go to school, and I decided to panic. But okay, I was asking my friend Thea how she would feel about it if it was her. She always just shrugged it off, and her answers was always left uncertain. But deep down, I always thought that she didn't want to take side, but her opinion on this mattered so much to me. Until one day, I was on my first day of school, and I promised I would talk to her every day. I told her everything about my day, but she didn't tell me how. Okay, so basically, this one is basically about friendships, and this was basically about friendships and how how she told someone something about herself, a private information, and then how the person took it. I feel like these people were, I know this person's friends, and me personally, I've had that experience. So there was a friend of mine who I thought that was my best friend, or rather one of my best friends, and I had a fallout with some of my friends, and I then now went to download everything about what those my other friends did to me, to this new person. And at the end of the day, those my other friends that I fought with, then I called this other one, and they started divulging information. Or rather, this one that I confided in told them everything I had said about them, everything that I said out of hurt, right? And that taught me a very huge lesson. Sometimes, who you tell your private information to matters a lot. You cannot just be the one always telling someone something. And the honest truth is, people's faces give certain information away. If someone is not your friend, most times through their faces, but we are the ones that are not always sure. Maybe we don't want to, maybe we're people pleasers, we don't want to hurt the person, we don't want them to feel a type of way and things like that. So basically, I think this person told our information to the wrong person, and clearly the person is not our friend. Or maybe that other person too has always had experiences that about things like this, and that is how she's reacting to it. But be careful who your friends are, and you cannot just be telling your stories to anyone. I think that this story is not very interesting. Let me look for another very interesting one. The asshole relationships. Okay, let's look for another one. All right. Okay, so this one says the topic is, am I the asshole for agreeing to an open relationship then sleeping with someone else? Reddit stories sometimes they kill me. I just laugh a lot. So let me read it. Then by next week, I'll try to summarize them before I come on live so that we're not just talking and I'm reading them. I'm like giving you the gist. So, anyways, a ton of people were inquiring about how the whole situation played out and asking me, okay. So, for starters, my girlfriend and I ended up. Oh, I think this is a continuation of. I think this is a continuation of a story. So, let me check. Okay, yeah, so this is the story. Am I the asshole for agreeing to opening relationship then sleeping with someone else? Hi, my girlfriend and I have been going through a rough time lately, and it boiled over in the past few days. We have been, who is this person? Official AM. You can leave the live. You don't have to be on the live now. If you're not enjoying the story, please go. Let me continue. So, hi. Yes, so this person says that him and his girlfriend have been going through issues, but over the past few years, it has blown up. So he says we've been together for 3 years. Things were going well, and for the most part, we got along and would rarely fight. Even when we did, we would often both cool down and talk it. Things were going well, and for the most part, we got along and would rarely fight. Both cool down and talk it out. Approached me and asked if I wanted an open relationship. I don't know if I'm still live.